It is my profound respect to welcome all of you to this pivotal public hearing of the Senate Committee on Agriculture, Production Services, and Rural Development. We are here to deliberate on 3 landmark legislative proposals that strike at the core of Nigerian agricultural transformation. The bill for the inclusion of cassava flour in wheat flour production, the National Food Reserve Agency Establishment Bill, and the National Rice Development Council of Nigerian Bill. These bills, having successfully scaled their second reading in the Senate, now stand before us for your invaluable scrutiny and contribution. This public hearing is not merely a formal or a formality issue. Rather, it is the voice of Nigerians echoing through these hallowed halls, ensuring that our laws are forged in the fire of collective wisdom and grounded in the realities of our farmland and community. Today, I am playing a dual role as the chairman of the esteemed committee and as the sponsor of these 2 bills out of the 3. The National Food Reserve Agency Bill and Cassava Inclusion to Flour Production Bill. At the same time, my elder brother, distinguished Senator Adamu Alero, is the sponsor of the Rice Development Council of Nigerian Bill. I must highlight the benefit of these bills as we journey together toward a Nigeria of our collective dreams. Firstly, the bill for consideration is the cassava inclusion into flour production. This forward-thinking legislation seeks to blend our abundant cassava harvest into wheat production, thereby reducing our crippling $5 billion annual wheat importation, creating jobs for our teeming unemployed youth, and improving the living standard of smallholder farmers. Imagine a Nigeria where every loaf of bread, every pastry, and every noodle not only nourishes our body, but also bolsters our economy, turning our golden tubers into a pillar of self-reliance, which is more than policy. It is a clarion call to diversify our food basket and insulate our people from global price volatilities. It is this intention of this bill, when eventually passed into law, moderate 20% inclusion of high-quality cassava flour in wheat by all producers of edible flour in Nigeria or imported into the country. Encourage cassava farming and create a sustainable market for cassava flour. Mandate the publication of regulation for the proportion of cassava flour in relation to wheat to be applied in processes of making edible flour, and provide a tax regime and an incentive for producers of mixed wheat and cassava flour and wheat importers who include cassava flour in imported wheat. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, stakeholders, the second bill for consideration is the bill for an act to establish the National Food Reserve Agency and for related matters therewith. The bill seeks to further develop the sector by ensuring national food security and income through marketing and storage services, while addressing the emergency food crisis. The objectives of this bill are to establish the National Food Reserve Agency to implement the National Food Reserve Policy, reduce post-harvest losses, and provide food security for the nation. Therefore, establishing an agency for food reserve is essential to enhance food and nutrition security. A strategic grain reserve will stabilize staple food prices for the benefit of both consumers and farmers. The National Food Reserve Agency, when established, will The National Food Reserve Agency, when established, will facilitate and provide guidelines for establishing and maintaining buffer stocks to ensure price stabilization and food security. The proposed Food Reserve Agency will be responsible for storing food grains and other commodities for strategic purposes. The present hardship arising from soaring prices of food commodities can be mitigated by the existence of this agency, which could have ensured price stabilization and the availability of the food produce through the maintenance of the buffer stocks. Completing the triad of agricultural empowerment is the National Rice Development Council of Nigerian Bill, sponsored by distinguished Senator Muhammad Adamu Alero. Rice, the staple that graces nearly every Nigerian table, remains a sector plagued by inefficiencies despite our vast potential to produce over 7 million metric tons annually. This bill heralds the birth of a dedicated council to orchestrate research, extension services, and value chain innovations leveraging on flood-resistant seeds to modern milling technologies. It promises to slash our $2 billion rice importation dependence, ignite agro-industrial hubs in the rice belts of the North and South, and elevate our farmers from subsistence to commercial stardom. In essence, it is a blueprint for turning paddy fields into prosperity engines, fostering inclusivity for women and youth in agriculture, in agro-business, and positioning Nigeria as Africa's rice powerhouse. As we proceed, let us be guided by the spirit of unity and patriotism that defines us as Nigerians. Let debate be vigorous, but discourse remain respectful. Let innovation flourish, but equity prevail. Our committee stands committed to transparency, incorporating your inputs into a final report that will propel these bills towards presidential assent. In closing, I'm reminded of the words of our forebears. The land is our heritage, its bounty, our legacy. Today we honor that legacy by building a Nigeria where agriculture is relic of the past, but the engine of our tomorrow. Thank you all for your presence and passion. God bless you all. God bless the 10th Senate, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, Senate Committee on Agriculture.